Go.
1, 2, 3. Hi, everybody. This is Crypto Rich, working with you to get rich with crypto, filling our pockets with crypto profits. I'm delighted to have back with me Richard Ells, the CEO of Electroneum. And surely you must know what Electroneum is about. We're going to get an update from him about what's happening. Now, please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, CryptoRichYT. If you're watching this on YouTube, come over to BitTube because I post my videos there. And comment, like, and help me fight YouTube shadow ban.
Travelling to a game here at Anfield, or maybe following the Reds away from home. There's a good chance you'll be connecting to public Wi-Fi somewhere along the way. But did you know that the free Wi-Fi is the hacker's favourite pitch? So instead of chasing the ball, they're ready to steal your sensitive information.
Hey, good morning, Richard. Great to see you again.
Good morning. Nice to see you as well. Thank you for the invite. As always, it's a pleasure.
Yes. And I think the last we spoke was at the beginning of the summer in the lockdown. It was a few months ago. And you have been out and about, and things have been happening with Electroneum. And I thought we could talk about AnyTask. We could talk a little bit about a certain exchange, if anything's happening, future plans, the ETN ecosystem, and I might surprise you with some other question alongside.
No problem.
Do you want to start? You want to start with AnyTask? How that's going?
Sure. It's brilliant, absolutely superb. We've got some really exciting things going on. We're just streamlining all the processes. I mean, we got it out in what's called MVP in developer circles, so minimum viable proposition is what it went live with, and we've been running around like crazy, making enhancements. Bear in mind, we're entering a market where our competitors are quite mature, so we've been running around like crazy. There are just within the last 7 days, there's been an enhancement to the search algorithm to make the results better. There's been enhancements to the look and feel, but there's a big one of those coming in the next week or so, I think. Then there's easier checkout, so faster, more fluid checkout. We've got some influencers who are starting to pick that up as well. We had 30,000 more users come on board in the last month, I think. It's been crazy busy. We've got I think there's now more than 16,000 live tasks on the platform. So it's really, really good. And what people in the crypto world have to get their heads around, and I think perhaps they haven't done yet, is that this is real world usage of crypto. So every time somebody buys something, and they buy it with their credit card or debit card, but every time someone buys something, then the ETN that is being used to send the value to the person who's done the development or the design or whatever they've done, the tasker, that comes from the open market. That ETN is not ETN that we are making. We are buying that ETN from the open market. And then the fiat money that comes in is being used to fund that, and we're closing this ecosystem up. So our Fiverr turned over, I think, $111 million in 2019. Our goal is for $5 million in 12 to 18 months, which is obviously only 5% of that market, and it's a growing market. So I think it's eminently achievable. With the growth that we've seen now, we absolutely should. And when you then extrapolate that back, you think, okay, well, that's $100,000 a week of people entering into the ETN ecosystem. So what AnyTask brings is massive in terms of real world adoption of crypto, and the people that are utilizing it don't even necessarily realize they're utilizing it. They're just buying a great service, and then at the back end, the person who desperately is in need of a new way to earn is empowered by AnyTask, i.e. they can earn even though they don't have a bank account. Remember, there's 1 billion of these people around the world, more than, in fact. So huge number of people around the world that are empowered. So that was a very long answer. I'm sorry. AnyTask is great. It's flying. It's really, really exciting. And it will definitely, because it's already starting to, spin off to some other people that then raise their heads up and go, hang on a minute, I run a translation site, for instance. We've got a SaaS-based translation site that's talking to us. So they have translators all around the world, but this would open up a massive new avenue of new translators that are at a lower cost point. Remember, you'd be empowering those people as well. So actually, once we can start really demonstrating this to the market that it's a success, you'll find it then spawns more and more adoption of ETN in that developing world.
Right. No, it sounds really great. There's very little fluff in what you said. It's all full of info. What's the impact on the AnyTaskers that are coming on?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've got some just amazing feedback from these guys. One of the influencers that went live a couple of weeks ago was I'm not entirely too sure where they were. An Asian influencer somewhere within Asia. Somebody did something, and the guys at the office will tell you. I don't want to say it and get it wrong, but wherever they went live, we were just inundated. We actually thought the website was under attack. We had 3,000 new task sellers sign up in a weekend. So, it's been mind-bogglingly good, and there's a massive demand for it. That's what's really exciting. And every single seller is by default an Electroneum user. So we're driving new people into the ecosystem, new people into downloading the app and understanding what Electroneum is, finding uses for it, etc. So it's a sort of a critical part of our ecosystem. When I first envisaged it, couldn't say that. When I first envisaged it, I did not think it was going to be the success that it is. It's wildly successful.
It's not even success, and these are early days, Richard. These are really early days, because it takes time to build a business, and
it absolutely does. What it's done is there's a sort of convergence going on. The unfortunate thing for the world is, of course, we're in the midst of this COVID lockdown. Around the world, there's more people being forced into starting up businesses, and I feel for those people. But at the same time, there are these huge opportunities for people that have never been given this opportunity before, and the numbers of those people is fantastic. It's the feedback coming back. We're trying to get as many case studies as we can. Go and have a look at our Electroneum site under news. I think there are case studies there. I'm not sure if it's gone on. I think it probably has actually. Look at AnyTask, see if the news site has gone live there. We're trying to get these case studies in to show. Some people, one guy has saved up his ETN and he's cashed it in and used it to go and buy a 3D printer. He's in Croatia, I think. So he's gone off and he's now. So I think he's only 14 years old, and he's developed his business. He's now bought a 3D printer and he's making physical. He's physically manufacturing things as well that he's distributing. It's just brilliant. It's really brilliant to see cryptocurrency, more specifically Electroneum, but cryptocurrency doing what it should, doing what Satoshi Nakamoto wanted it to do, which is empower people. So we're very excited to be part of that process.
And then also at the other end, in certain countries, they can use the Electroneum to purchase mobile top-ups. In every country now, pretty much, right?
Well, it's not quite every country, but 140 plus countries. So nearly
good.
Funnily enough, where it's harder, it's harder to find the deals in the developed world. You go to, I don't think we cover the Netherlands, Germany. There's quite a few developed nations that we don't cover, I think. Certainly, we may have sorted it now, but they were the problem areas because, of course, their market is saturated. They're rolling around in cash, and they just couldn't care about opening a new avenue up. So actually, it's harder to get those working than it has been in the developing world. So it's worked out well. 140 countries you can buy airtime or data with ETN. We are just launching. It's not the integration is happening as we speak. The API integration to enable 2 or 3 different things. There's a number of API integrations going into the ETN app to enable people to purchase remotely. So we've got a handful of countries with electricity top up. I think we've got 13 more countries for electricity top up that the integration has taken place. And we've also got medicines, and in a handful of countries, couldn't tell you quite how many there are at the moment, but I know it's been ongoing. Construction materials. So when people, because bear in mind, how people live around the world. The ability to buy some construction materials is a critical part of life and empowerment. So getting those deals into place as well. It doesn't just mean the people can earn and buy. Of course, it does. That's fantastic. But it also means that relatives that have migrated can buy those construction materials for them, and they can go and collect them. So there's all sorts of wonderful things coming. So really good.
That's amazing. And then the advantage I want to say for people who are watching, because I think you and I are clear about this, the advantage for people using AnyTask versus Fiverr is they get more money.
Yeah.
Well, you don't take any commission.
That's exactly right. There's no fees at all to the sellers or the taskers, as we've been calling them. But there's no fee to them at all. I've always thought it's slightly unfair that it's been put that way round. Most of that sort of freelancers are still, even though they may be traditionally from the banked part of it. So in other words, if you go to the likes of Fiverr, people per hour, etc., you are more than likely going to be buying from the Philippines or from India or wherever. But they will be from the richest sector of those countries where they are banked and they are more established. It's quite a lot of university students, etc. So taking their money, I've always thought was probably slightly harsh anyway. when the buyer is sitting, in relatively palatial surroundings, wherever they're sitting buying that task. I mean, ultimately, it makes no difference to the buyer whether the seller or the buyer gets charged it. The price is ultimately the same, but it feels different for the end user. The end user gets the full amount of what they've listed it for. So yeah, significant change to that. And of course, ETN costing virtually zero to transfer also means that as we introduce ETN payments, which is not quite live yet, more lawyer stuff, but once that goes live, some really other exciting stuff happens there as well. So if you imagine that at the moment somebody can sell their skills and get some ETN, but if they let's say they made an animation, if they wanted to do a voiceover on there, they'd have to do it themselves. But there's loads of voiceover talent on AnyTask, but they can't buy it because they haven't got a credit card themselves. So when ETN payments goes live, which is imminent, what that will mean is they can take some of the ETN that they've earned and they can use it back in the platform to buy from other people. And you can get people then can become almost aggregators or project managers. So somebody that doesn't know how to design a website, they don't know how to do a voiceover, or they don't have the right voice talent, they don't know how to design a logo, that's okay. They could list a task that said, I will project manage you from start to finish. I'll build you an e-commerce site. I'll get the logo. I'll get the voiceovers. I'll get the copywriting. I'll get it proofread. I'll get it all live. And I'll do it all for you for $200, say. And then they go off and find the right people and pay them back in the ETN.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's a bit like a drop service company. So it's drop shipping. It's like drop service.
Yeah, but you're doing it with services, exactly. Because actually, what you do have is you have people who want to start a business, but and AnyTask is brilliant for any new startup, absolutely brilliant. But you still have to go off and find the right people. So you have to find a copywriter, and you have to find a web developer, and you have to find product cutout experts and category makers and animation people and social media people. You have to find all these skills yourself. So you become a little project manager while you're trying to start your business. Where actually, if you went to an agency that said, "Oh, I'm going to charge you $2,500 to build your website," what they would do is they'd get all these skills and put them together. Well, actually, that can now happen on AnyTask. You can have a mini agency that uses all the skills on AnyTask, but pulls them together for a fraction of an agency cost, whilst having access to a full range of agency services. Certainly, agencies won't be very happy with us.
Okay, and then what about
I own an agency?
what about the quality of the work?
Yeah, oh gosh, it's
the feedback.
It's as good as you'll get. If you went to a London design agency and said, I want a logo design, and they charged you £1,000 or £2,000, you will not be able to tell the difference between that logo. You might have a lot of faff and a lot of, I was going to use a rude word there, but you might have a lot of made up nonsense about creativity and, oh gosh, the colours blend to create a little aura of wonderfulness. You might get a lot of that, but ultimately the logo will look just exactly the same, and you've only paid $20 or $10 or whatever on AnyTask. They're still vector graphics, so you can scale them, you can use them on you can make signs whatever size you want with them. They are just exactly the same skill, but they're being done by somebody that's the other side of the world, and that $10 makes a giant difference to their life, which is why they can charge it. So it's not good for like I say for developed world agencies, but what you've also got to remember is this is going to be mostly for startups and small businesses, so it saves them money. The corporates of the world, I think British Airways famously paid £1 million or something for their new logo, and it's just a little swoopy thing. I mean, it's mind-boggling what can be charged to these corporates, and I can't imagine British Airways going on to AnyTask.
Yes,
but had they done it, they'd have got just as good a logo, if not better, for $20. So there you go, British Airways. If you're watching, you know what to do next time.
And how does AnyTask fit in with the whole ecosystem?
Well, of course, I mean that's the empowerment side now. So. We used to have this big giveaway, which definitely, got us just vast amounts of users. But now, like I say, we've taken on at least 20,000, I think, new people that have downloaded the app and done things. I can't remember. Actually, it might be. No, I think that was including the buyer, so they wouldn't necessarily download the app. There's got to be at least 5,000 new people this month that have downloaded our app and become ETN users. So. I think it's fantastic for the ecosystem. It's keeping that momentum up. It's getting new people involved in the project, and we're only at the start of it. There are literally, Fiverr talk about how many users they've got. I don't know how many it is specifically, but it's certainly millions and millions, 3, 4, 5 million users or something. You go and have a look at some of them, like people per hour. I think people per hour quote tens of millions. So this industry, which is a $3 trillion industry, the freelancing industry, is growing, and it's growing really fast. And so us taking a teeny tiny market share in the wider world, in the crypto world, is massive. That's the thing, is the crypto world is in comparison to if you look at the equities markets and the forex markets and stuff, the crypto world is still tiny in comparison. And so any of these, if we get real success in the real world, the repercussions and ramifications in the crypto world are amplified.
Right. Okay. And how does the AnyTask fit in with the rest of the Electroneum ecosystem? So we talked about the utilities and mobile top up, but the other projects that you've got, the other branches.
Well, mostly it's just giving people a way to get ETN. That's the sort of the crux of it. But at the same time, it's also when we used to approach people and we'd say, look, we're giving out ETN and they've got some ETN in their wallets, and now we'd like you to start accepting ETN to take it. You'd blow people's minds, because they'd say, well, how are you giving that money away? I know that it isn't money for anybody who's listening that is in the law, but how are you giving that value away, let's call it? And the answer was that it could only happen for a set amount of time. We had a set budget, as it were, to give it away to get this fast expansion of users. So they were right. You can't continually just airdrop money to everybody and that be the only source. So when we replace that with AnyTask, and of course it's not gaining the same numbers of users that we got to start with, I think it will catch back up and overtake those numbers of users at some stage. But right now we've had a user slowdown whilst we then take off in this new way. But what it does is when you're talking to shops and these people that we're talking about integrating with, suddenly it's absolutely clear. We would approach a company. We will always try and find a testimonial first. So I've just literally asked for testimonials in a couple more countries where we go off, we look through our user list, we find some people that are selling stuff, and then we go out and reach out and we get a case study. That case study will be included in how we approach. So we'll go and say, we've got 17,000 people that have got ETN in your country, for instance. We've got 200 or 300 people, perhaps maybe 1,000 people or whatever it is in your country that are earning at the moment. This thing's only just launched. We intend to have tens of thousands. They earn in ETN. They won't have at the moment anywhere to spend it except on airtime and data. Would you like some of that value, that thing that you can turn into money? And suddenly it becomes much more obvious for them. So the partnership opportunities since we launched AnyTask have been just wildly better, because suddenly you can understand it. There's no question marks over things anymore. You can understand what Electroneum is, what it's for, what it does, how they get it, how the whole system works. So it's worked across the entire ecosystem in terms of us building the back end, building the front end, bringing on users. Everything about it has been a really, really good and positive thing for the ecosystem and for longevity of the project. I've always said that there's tons of crypto projects that will be gone there's loads that were already gone. There's tons and tons and tons of them that started in September of 2017, the same as we did, and you'll find 1,000, 2,000, I don't know, thousands that are gone. And the reality of it was we were always about building a brand we want to build a big brand. We want to build a PayPal, an Amazon, an eBay of crypto, not a fly by night. The owner grabs his dough and runs, of which we've seen so many times and have tarnished the whole of the cryptocurrency's reputation. So the AnyTask will definitely be a part of that. I mean, AnyTask is around to stay. There's no doubt about that. Just the momentum we've had on it is fantastic. And remember that it's entirely driven with Electroneum. So
which in the long term, Richard, could easily give you an edge over Upwork and Fiverr and all of those because of the lack of friction.
But lots of freelancer sites, go and take a look at them and look at how long it takes to get paid out. Once somebody approves your work on our platform, they have the money. I can't call it money again, so let's call it the value that they are paid for their work.